Alright, another Tuesday stream. This time, the final card for the Stride deck set for Messiah, along with the surprising unit that was first revealed in the anime. So let's begin, and no cards for the last few days, so on to the Tuesday stream itself. So for the not surprise card, we got Genesis Dragon Excelics Messiah. So first off, the Stride cost is discarding a grade 3 Messiah from hand to stride this unit. Basically like next stage, but for Messiah. Now the skill is Auto Vanguard, Generation Break 2. When this card attacks, cost Counterblast 1, choose any number of player of locked cards, unlock them. If you unlock the card, choose the same number of rear guards as the unlocked cards by this ability and stand them. Until the end turn, all your front row units get plus 10 key power, and this card gets plus 1 crit. Ups and downs with the original if you want to make the comparison, because the original one can still retire your opponent's rear guards when you unlock your opponent's rear guards, but overall isn't too bad, because first of all, if you do not mass lock your board, at least you can still restand your rear guards. So that usually would be the boosters and maybe one whole column. So that one extra mass board restand basically is just pretty nice, and a mass power up on top of that pretty much. And crit pressure, pretty good. Overall, not too bad. I'm still a bit iffy about playing Encounter Messiah considering that I already have a premium Messiah deck, but I do like the aesthetic of the new Encounter Messiah, especially the artwork of it, so I might actually end up playing it. And I already like Messiah playstyle as it is, so I might actually just build it, and it's a Stride deck set, so you pretty much got a full constructed deck. A little surprising that this is the first Brand Gate deck without a set order, even for encounter reasons. And now to the new surprise cards. Let's start off with Dragon Tree Wretch Depth E-Wealth. It's a grade 2 with thinking about, and the skill is Auto, when placed on rear guard, cost Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, put a Dragon Tree marker on a rear guard circle without one. And then you search your deck for one Masque of Hydragram, reveal it and put it to your hand, and of course shuffle your deck. Yay, more Dragon Tree Wretch units. And considering that this is generic, and this searches up for Masque of Hydragram, which is going to be a new base mechanic or new type of theme for these type of new decks, and this one's still chaos so far, I'm expecting every single nation to get one of these, with the exception of Lyrical and all the other collapse sets, but hopefully Lyrical gets one too, because I would like Lyrical to at least get this stuff as well. And basically, if you're playing Grateful Gila, it's basically a second unit that can give you a Dragon Tree marker for the deck. Now we go to Masque of Hydragram itself. So it's a grade 3 nationless normal order. Its skill is look at the top 5 cards of the deck, choose one unit card that is a Dragon Tree or Masques in its name, reveal it and put it to your hand, of course shuffle your deck. So on top that it could be searched, this card is also a searcher practically. Wow. But that part is going to be quite important whether you play Grateful Gila or not, because Masque is basically a new type of theme, similar to Reverse basically. I would just give it to you like that. Because as you can tell based on the order card, this card is a Masque. So that means the unit is probably going to be holding or wearing the mask, which becomes a Masque unit. That's the new type of unit that we're getting. But before we go to the Masque unit, the first one, let's go to the second skill where Act Drop Zone. If you have a grade 3 Vanguard without a Masque name, cost, reveal a grade 3 Masque unit from your hand, ride it as stand, and then put this card into your soul. If your opponent's grade 3 or greater, it counts as a Persona ride during the turn as well. So basically, you activate this to search your Masque unit, and then use the drop zone ability to superior ride the Masque unit. Keep in mind, this is double rare, and you're probably going to be playing this in a lot of different decks considering that this is basically like a reverse theme, except that this is a little bit special and generic for pretty much every single Masque deck, and you might be playing 4 copies of these. So I'm really afraid that this is going to get really expensive if there's too many Masque units. But overall, this card is a pretty cool idea. I do like it. I just don't like the fact that it's a double rare, so it's going to be a little pricey. Especially based on how the anime is going, we might get quite a good amount of Masque units. At least one per nation. And now to the first Masque unit itself that was also the anime card reveal. Teasing Spiritualist Zorga Masque. So first off, it has a continuous ability where this card can only be written on top of a grade 3 Zorga. Theme-wise, it actually makes sense. First off, of course, it's going to be a more powerful version of the original Zorga. And of course, that's going to be Zorga without the mask, so this is just the mask version, so it kind of makes sense. And basically, in a way, kind of like grade 4 units. The only difference is they still have Persona Ride, and you don't get the triple drive. Which I really still hope they bring back the grade 4s. I kind of like those. But anyway, this is basically you have to ride on turn 4 unless if you play the mask card itself to make it one turn faster, hence why that one might get expensive, and it's probably going to be played played in many decks like I said, so that's what I'm a little worried about. But anyway, to the official skills, where the first one being Count Vanguard. When you play a normal order, you can bind a normal order from drop and Alchemagic. So basically like regular Zorga, Alchemagic. And it could be same name, unlike the Grave equals Zorga. And into the next skill, where Count Vanguard, if you Alchemagic this turn, all your front row units gets plus 10k power. Similar to Graves equals Zorga, but even more power. Finally, to the third skill, where it's Act Vanguard. Once per turn, costs remove a Zorga with different name that is in your hand, soul, or drop zone, and then choose a card from your drop zone, call it to rear guard if it's a unit, but put it to your hand if it's normal order. So basically, you can recycle your orders for more Alchemagic or just call more cards. Overall, not too bad, basically like grade 4s, except that you still get the Persona Ride, but no triple drive. Obviously, with a restriction, it's obviously going to get a little more powerful than the grade 3 Zorgas, but overall not too bad. Still plays with the Alchemagic playstyle, but with extra power, which really does help the deck, and even more pressures, especially with the roaming dragons. And I do notice one thing about this card: no counterblast needed, meaning your opponent cannot damage deny you here, which makes it even more terrifying in many cases. Overall, pretty cool. But now, when I have to say which grade 3 Zorga that you're going to play as your first ride, I would say original Zorga is probably better, because at least you still get the call, and you don't lose soul, which is going to be the bigger problem with the Stokeia deck. And no, you cannot Alchemagic twice in a turn, because you can only play one order per turn, and playing Alchemagic is basically one order. Remember that, please. Finally, to a support card, Kyo's Severing. It's a grade 2 with 5k base power, and its skill is Auto Drop Zone. When you're teasing Spiritualist, Zorga, Masque on your Vanguard attacks, if you do not have a copy of itself on rearguard, costs Counterblast 1, retire rearguard, call this to rearguard with a Dragon Tree marker on it. So basically multi-attack for Zorga Masques. Sure, it's 5k base power and plus the Dragon Tree marker making it 10k. It may look not that great at first until you remember that Zorga Masques gives mass power up to your whole front row. And if you play the Masque card itself, that's going to be counted as a Persona Ride if you went second, which is even more power. And don't forget, Zorga Masque doesn't even use Counterblast, so this card just basically fills up pretty much the Counterblast role for it. And the Retire the Rearguard is not even bad either. You could just get rid of one of those roaming dragons, because you don't need those to stay for an entire turn. Once you used up the attack for his roaming dragon, you just need it again for the next turn for Alchemagic Superior Calls again. So overall, pretty strong right here. And finally, before we go, here is some Booster Set 11 news. Basically another break set, more cross-epic support, and it looks like we're getting new forms of the cross-epic ride lines. And we also got the new encounter, that being Ezel, which I think that should have been in set 8 overall. But now this makes the 4th encounter ride line for Cater Sanctuary. Even though Cater kinda lacks ride lines as it is, but too many encounters for Cater. But overall, I am quite excited. Hopefully we get other stuff as well. So that's it for these new reveals. What do you guys think of them? For the Excelics Messiah, I'm overall still iffy about playing Messiah encounters since I do have Premium Messiah and it basically plays the same thing. But I've been liking Messiah aesthetic and playstyle already, and especially the artwork of the new Messiah cards look pretty awesome. I might actually build the deck, especially since it's a Stride deck set. You could just buy the whole product and you have a complete deck, so I might actually do it. Now for the new Zorga with the Masque stuff, Zorga itself is pretty cool, and the Masque part, I actually like the idea of it because it reminds me of Reverse, and I like the Reverse theme as it was. The only thing I do have a bit of an issue with is that the Masque order card itself is a double rare, and considering that there might be a lot more Masque units, it might get a little pricey. And I do expect quite a good amount, especially how the anime is going. But overall, I do like the idea of it. Now, I do hope that they do bring back grade 4s, because in a way the Masque units are kind of like the grade 4s, except that they still have the twin drive and Persona Ride, but the grade 4s are triple drive, so I would have liked the idea of grade 4s versus Masques in a way, I'm just saying. And hopefully at least one Masque unit per nation, because at least that will be something. But on that, that's it for this, and see you all next time.